Okay, so how do you take 5 lakh rupees and turn it into a $2 million brand? Sounds pretty wild, right? Well, today we're unpacking the incredible story of Fitted, a Pakistani fashion company that started with almost nothing and is now a massive success. This is where it all started. 500,000 Pakistani rupees. That's it, just 5 lakhs.
And somehow, that small investment ballooned into this, a brand that's now pulling in $2 million every single year. So the big question is, how on earth did they do it? All right, so to really get the how, we've got to start with the where. You see, the whole story of Fitted is built on this absolutely massive, kind of untapped opportunity just waiting in Pakistan's fashion market.
Get this, by next year, we're talking about a market for just Western-style clothes in Pakistan that's projected to hit $2.5 billion. That's a ridiculously huge pie, and a big slice of it is just sitting there, up for grabs. So, what's behind this explosion? Well, it's pretty much a perfect storm, right? You've got this massive youth population, then you have TikTok and Instagram completely changing the culture. Suddenly, a whole generation wants that Western global style. And people are spending more. This isn't just some passing trend, folks. It's a deep, fundamental shift. And right in the middle of all this is the founder, Muneeb Zafar. And his journey to building this $2 million company? Yeah, it was anything but a straight line.
So he goes off to university in Canada, which, most people would think is the golden ticket. But then he does something totally unexpected. He decides to come back home to Pakistan because he had this gut feeling he could make a way bigger splash there. And this quote from him just says it all. He saw this huge potential in Pakistan that a lot of people were missing, right? He chose to build his future where he knew he could really make a name for himself.
You know, those first jobs he had? They weren't just about a paycheck. They were basically his real-world MBA. The sales job taught him how to deal with rejection and how to understand people. And then at the digital agency, that's where you got a crash course in e-commerce branding, basically learning how to run the whole show. Okay, so let's get to the origin story. How did this whole thing even start? Well, Fitted didn't come from some fancy business plan. Nope. It started with a super simple personal problem. Literally, Muneeb was just a guy trying to find a good dress shirt in Pakistan. He looked everywhere, couldn't find anything he liked. So instead of just complaining about it, he decided, you know what? I'll just make my own. And that's it. That's how it all kicked off. And man, those early days were a grind. He wasn't just selling clothes. He was basically teaching a whole market how to shop online for the first time. I mean, he tells this story about an order where the address was literally just Faisal Masjid. The customer expected him to show up with a bunch of shirts for him to try on in his car. Wild. So, okay, how do you go from delivering shirts to a guy in a car to becoming this massive operation? Well, he did it by being super methodical, building up his brand engine piece by piece. And the growth? It's just been insane. We're talking about going from, maybe 5 orders a day back in 2018 to now they're doing between 400 and 600 orders every single day. And get this, that's just online. A really huge moment for them was when they decided to open a physical store. This wasn't some grand strategy from day one, not at all. It was purely because customers were demanding it. People wanted to see the clothes, to try them on. So Fitted listened. And they took what's usually a huge headache for online brands, returns, sizing issues, and turned it into one of their biggest strengths. And where are all these customers? Well, a massive chunk. 80% are in Pakistan's 3 biggest cities, Karachi, Lahore, and Islamabad. So you can see they've been really smart and focused on those key urban centers. Now here's what I think is the most impressive part of this whole story. All of this growth was completely bootstrapped. No outside investors. It was all built on a really smart, simple playbook. First, build great relationships with your vendors. Second, pour every single rupee of profit right back into the business. Third, master your core products. And finally, and this is so key, make the customer experience so amazing that your customers become your biggest marketers. But for Muneeb and his team, it was never just about the money. It's always been about building a brand with a real soul, a real identity, something that's actually built to last. And their whole philosophy can be summed up like this. The brand is the complete experience. It's not just a logo, right? It's everything. the quality of the product, how they talk to you, the delivery, the customer service. Every single one of those little details matters. And this approach, it's so patient, so deliberate. It's the complete opposite of that grow-at-all-costs startup craziness we hear about all the time. Instead, they've been focused on building a solid, sustainable foundation, one brick at a time.
So what's next for Fitted? Well, the vision is big, but it's also really grounded. They're looking to expand their retail footprint even more in Pakistan, and they're starting to think about taking the brand global. But they're going to do it all while sticking to that core idea that got them here: smart, sustainable, controlled growth. And really, the story of Fitted leaves you with a really powerful question, especially if you're an entrepreneur. In a world that is just obsessed with growing as fast as possible, what's the true value of deciding to build something slow, steady, and strong instead?